Welcome to our barn, where we're smoking premium cigars, living the country life, and equipping ourselves with the tools necessary to stand up to the pressures of compromise and tolerance. This is Cigars in the Barn. Welcome back, guys. On this episode, we're going to go ahead and have a discussion. As we previously mentioned before on TikTok, we've been promoting a lot of people, talking about a lot of people. Now we want to give you the opportunity to get to know us a little bit more. So we posted and said, if you had any questions, let us know. And we've got some questions lined up, things from TikTok, our other social media platforms, private messages we received, and also through email. So we have a lot of different questions that have been lined up for us. So we want to take this opportunity to allow us to tell you who we are, so you can get to know the guys behind Cigars in the Barn a little bit better, so you can understand why we do this and what we've been doing.
And we are featuring the Drunk Chicken Original by Drunk Chicken Cigars. Make sure you check them out, drunkchickencigars.com. Use our promo code when you check out. All lowercase, Cigars in the Barn. That's the promo code. Make sure you give them some love as well.
Makes it easy. I was actually born in Panorama City, but I was raised in Lancaster and practically lived in Lancaster till I was 33, and now I'm here in Acton.
I was born in Valencia, California, and I grew up in a little small town called Lake Hughes, California. It's kind of a rural mountain town outside of where Matt grew up. And now I live in Acton, California, another outskirt rural town from the valley that he's from. Basically.
Originally, I started out working as an EMT right out of high school. I worked as an EMT for roughly about 10 years. Within that time, I also taught EMT school, so training future EMTs. And then I worked as a supervisor, general manager for an ambulance company. Then I became a cop, and now currently I work for a healthcare industry taking care of behavioral type patients.
My road is very similar to Matt's. Right out of high school, I was an X-ray technician. Slowly worked my way up in the ranks in the urgent care field. Became a clinic manager, state clinical director. I was also a teacher, similar to Matt. I taught future X-ray technicians at a vocational school. After that, became a cop. Now I work in the corporate security industry.
Some of the main hobbies I really like and I enjoy is obviously being out with my kids. I've got 3 children. I love to play baseball. I grew up playing baseball. That's probably one of my biggest passions of life is baseball. So I play in a men's Sunday baseball league, not currently now because of COVID-19, but that and just hanging with my family, golfing, and enjoying family time is my biggest hobby.
Some of my hobbies include music. I grew up playing music. My family's a very musical family. I was a drummer, piano, mandolin. I actually picked up mandolin the past few years. I grew up water skiing, snowboarding, outdoor activities like dirt bike riding and that kind of stuff. I also love sports, football. Played football in high school, volleyball in high school. Pretty much anything that can get me outdoors and out of the house, I'm all game for. Now,
my beautiful wife and I have been married for 6 years.
My wife and I have been married for 7, going on 8. We'll be 8 in July.
I have 3 children. I have a son and 2 daughters. My son is 6. My oldest daughter is 3, and my youngest daughter just turned 1 in March.
I have 1 son, 1 daughter. My son is 6. My daughter's 4. Just turned 4.
Currently, I have 1 dog, a Australian healer. I have a cat. I have no idea what kind of cat it is. We have a pig, and we're in the process of getting another cat as well.
And for my side, we have 1 dog, Belgian Malinois. We have Oh, gosh. We have a lot of cats, a lot of barn cats. 4 cats. One of them just had kittens. We have 6 kittens. 1 horse named Caroline. We have 3 goats, 2 pigs, 4 sheep, a buttload of chickens.
Fighter pilot would have been really cool, but honestly, doing this for a living is exactly what I'd want to do with my life.
My perfect job is pretty much what I'm doing right now, being a homesteader, living off my property, selling my product, and doing cigars in the barn. I'm having a great time doing this. So right now, I feel like I'm in my perfect job.
Mm-hmm. My personal goals, obviously I want to raise a wonderful family. I want to raise children to be good adults, not just good children, but good adults. And ultimately, I want to have a good, successful business and look forward to providing ourselves with a good, healthy lifestyle down the road, working for ourselves.
Yeah, a personal goal for me would be making enough money off of my land, doing my stuff, the way that we do it. We have a couple different businesses that are relatively successful right now, so boosting those businesses and being able to live the lifestyle that I want and raise my kids to live that lifestyle and pass that on to their kids.
Number 1, President Reagan. Number 2, Nolan Ryan. If you don't know who that is, used to be a former Major League Baseball pitcher. My 3rd one would be my Uncle Chuck, who passed away from cancer about 4 years ago. My 4th one would be JFK. And my 5th pick would be my all-time favorite legend baseball player would be Mickey Mantle.
5 people to have dinner with. 1, Abraham Lincoln. My all-time favorite president ever. Number 2, Jesus, although I do feel like I have him at dinner every night. 3, my all-time current favorite football player, Derek Carr. Go Raiders. Number 4, I'd love to have dinner with our great president, Donald Trump. Number 5 on my list, I would love to have dinner with James, Brother Jesus, one of my favorite books of the Bible. Half-brother of Jesus, technically.
The number 1 thing on my bucket list that I want to do is I want to learn how to fly a helicopter.
Great. Excellent. I thought there was going to be more.
No, that's the one thing.
That's it. It's always been my dream to go to every single Raider game throughout the year. Doesn't matter if they're in London. Doesn't matter if they're in Zimbabwe. I want to go to every single game.
I hate soccer and I love hockey.
Yeah, that one's pretty obvious. The only time I really enjoyed soccer, I was working at the urgent care, and we were watching the World Cup, and I worked with everybody, every nationality, so everyone had their team.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun, but by far hockey. By far. 3. Worst state? California.
For me, I think my favorite state would probably be either Washington, the state of Washington, or Texas.
Yeah, I kind of like the southern Wyoming, all the way across to northern Nevada to the Idaho areas. That's kind of where I'm at.
Neither.
I honestly don't eat a lot of fried chicken. Mm-hmm. Never did, but growing up, we ate KFC once in a while, and I don't think I've ever eaten Popeyes.
Well, let me tell you a story. I had a little too much to drink, this thing called Jack Daniels, and apparently I thought I was trying to be cool and leaned back in my chair. And in doing so, I busted the back of my head open on a brick and just blood spurting everywhere because I thought I was cool.
Yeah, that was fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun to watch.
That was stupid.
When I was in the 8th grade, I thought I was going to be cool once again. and I was jumping from picnic bench to picnic bench. I tripped on one picnic bench and hit my forehead on the top, like the table part of the bench, and slammed my face into the seat part. That was at school in front of all my friends. But at least
my favorite truck would be a Chevy Silverado. I have a 2500. I don't have a lot of experience with trucks. I had a Nissan, so I don't necessarily know a lot of problems with them, but I don't think I'd ever own a Dodge.
I'm a huge Chevy fan, but I like to joke around. I'm a Chevy guy that owns a Ford. Hey, when the price is good,
you gotta do
and it's exactly what you need,
do what you gotta do.
You do what you gotta do.
Yep.
Honestly, every single truck that's not made in America does not deserve to be called a truck. Get out of here, Honda Ridgeline. Get out of here, Toyota Tacoma. I drove a Toyota Tacoma once. I rented one. Worst truck I've ever driven in my life. I would have rather driven a Kia Rio. Honestly, it was so bad. So, American made, excellent. Everything else, it ain't a truck. It's a sedan with a bed.
My favorite country song of all time and country singer, an artist, is Garth Brooks' The Dance. By far, grew up on Garth Brooks forever till the day I die. The Dance will be my favorite song.
I think I have a past favorite, and that would be Willie Nelson. Favorite song would be Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys. The duet that he did with Waylon Jennings. And currently, I go through some phases every once in a while. I've always been a huge Brad Paisley fan. Mm-hmm. But right now, I really like Justin Moore. Not his Poppy album, which I think was his third. Not his most recent, his second to last recent. Not a very good album. But his first album, second album, and his last album that he released, I've really enjoyed his stuff.
Yeah, and if I had a current favorite, it would probably be Jason Aldean. As of right now, my favorite cigar would probably be the Diesel Rage.
My favorite that I can remember, I've smoked a ton, but the one that really pops out in my head, the one that I got closest to buying a box of was the La Roma de Cuba Mi Amor Bellicoso.
I currently don't have one.
If I was going to recommend something, if you're at a gas station, at least our gas stations out here, the JM's Dominicana, not very good flavor, but it's going to let you get through the entire stick without killing you with the harshness, and the construction is pretty good. So I believe they're $2 a stick.
My favorite whiskey would be Maker's Mark 46.
If I had to pick a favorite whiskey that I could drink all the time, it would probably be Bullet Bourbon.
Oh, this is an easy one. Natty Ice. 5.9% alcohol per can.
Yep.
Beat it.
Beat it. My favorite beer, I like craft beers. From Breckenridge Brewery, they make the best vanilla porter. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic. Go over to your local Bevmo or whatever you guys got, pick up a 6-pack. It'll run you about $12 for the 6-pack. It is Breckenridge Brewery vanilla porter. I like dark beers. I like stouts and porters. That's kind of my flavor profile. But
my favorite sports teams, originally was a 49er fan until Colin Kaepernick came around. That doesn't happen anymore. So I'm a Charger fan. I prefer the LA Kings, and I am a Dodger fan. And by heart, growing up as a kid, I've always been a UCLA Bruin fan. I had a scholarship to play there for baseball. I think that's it.
My favorite sports teams, I am an Oakland Raider fan. Now, Las Vegas Raiders. I lived in Las Vegas for a little while, so I'm kind of bummed that they're moving now that I'm back in California. So, Raiders for football. Hockey, Golden Knights. I was living there when they came to town. I felt like I was really part of that franchise. Baseball, Dodgers. It's the local team out here. Obviously, I grew up in LA County, so it's kind of our go-to.
I like a good filet mignon.
Yeah, I like how you say it. Well, guys, I own a barbecue business. I make a really mean brisket. Mm-hmm. We do it Texas style, slow smoke, 16 hours. You could say, I'm going to be a little bit biased. I make a mean Texas style brisket. People also love it. So if you guys want some barbecue when this whole COVID-19 thing goes, check us out. CNC Smoke Shack if you want to check that out on Instagram. Mm-hmm. I was working in the urgent care as an x-ray tech. I was rooming a patient, and the lady came in for nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, all that stuff. She sat down on the exam table, and I was taking her vitals and triaging her for the provider who was going to come in a little bit. And I asked her to come off the table and sit down in one of the chairs, because there was a little bit of a wait. So I wanted her to be a little bit more comfortable and closer also to the door, so that if she needed to, run and use the bathroom, which was right there. When she got off the chair, she had a little bit of a fecal situation. She was wearing sweatpants, and some of her diarrhea had seeped through her pants and stuck to the exam table paper. She realized that the exam table paper is stuck to her rear end. And I'm gonna have to do it. She's doing this, trying to get it, and she rolled herself up. She spun 4, 5, 6 times. I don't even remember. She rolled herself up in a giant burrito of exam table paper that got stuck to her because her diarrhea seeped through her pants. Oh. And I had to keep a straight face the entire time. And all this time, her husband is sitting right there laughing his head off. And I didn't want to look unprofessional. I'm just like, dude, I got to get out of this room. Yep. I got to get out of this room. That's probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Picking up a gentleman who was kind of sick out in one of the outskirts areas of Kern County. And we go to pick him up. And as we pick him up to put him in the gurney, I just realized that his sack is about that big. And unbeknownst to my partner, he goes and sets him on top of it. So we're driving to the hospital, and all I hear is the whole time. Oh, no. And I had to tell my partner that we had to stop to pull over to lift this guy back up off of his enlarged testicles, so that way he could be comfortable the rest of the time to the hospital. So for me, my funniest family story would be when I was a kid. We used to play Monopoly a lot, and I would always beat everybody at Monopoly. And so one time, my parents thought it was funny, specifically my dad, to pants me completely everything, boxers and all, and throw me outside and lock me outside. That was probably the funniest thing.
So later on in my years when I was working in urgent care, it was my job as the clinical director to interview and hire all of the people that are going to be working at the facility and doing all those things. I had about 10 or 15 interviews lined up. So I'm sitting there in my scrubs and whatever, and I'm doing the interviews, and the whole entire time I'm thinking, I'm catching a draft.
Oh, no.
I'm catching it a little bit of a draft down in the southern region. And I didn't pay any attention to it. I had back-to-back interviews. I mean, there were 20, 30-minute interviews because I was pretty thorough. And obviously, I sit like this pretty much normally, even when I'm conducting an interview. So I finished up my interview, and I walk out. My wife was actually working with me at the same time, and she was working in the front office, checking patients in and that kind of thing. And she looked at the pants that I was wearing, the scrub bottoms that I was wearing, and she's like, "Where did you get those?" Well, I grabbed them out of this hamper or something. I forget exactly what I said. She's like, "Look down." I had a hole about that big in my, scrub pants are baggy, they're not fitted or anything, about that big. And I realized that I conducted about 15 interviews of people that were applying to work for me with a giant hole in my scrubs.
My favorite candy would be a Three Musketeers bar.
I would have to say my favorite candy bar is a whatchamacallit. Mm-hmm. I didn't forget it. That's what it's called.
My drink of choice would be iced tea, unsweet iced tea.
I like a good Arnold Palmer.
There you go.
I like a good Arnold Palmer. I like, obviously I like unsweetened tea, but you can put a little lemonade in there.
Yeah.
Top notch.
Generally speaking, if I'm going energy drink, I'm going probably Rockstar Zero Sugar.
Yeah, I'm kind of a Rockstar guy myself. I do go through kind of phases.
Mm-hmm.
When I was on patrol, probably same as you,
Yep.
Bang was really popular.
Yep, Bangs.
We all drank Bangs in the car. But right now, I think Rockstar, being that it's a Vegas company, mm-hmm. I like supporting my old hometown. Mm-hmm. And they're affordable for what you get. So I'm not spending $4 or $5 on a Red Bull. I'm just not.
For those of you that know, in the Acton area, there's a fast food restaurant called Grizzly Bears. Amazing. Old school, family run, great business. Great restaurant, Grizzly Bears.
Like most of you out there, I'm a big Chick-fil-A fan. So, original sauce.
I have two favorite ice cream flavors. I like mint chocolate chip and Rocky Road.
And this is why we're friends, because those are my go-tos as well. Mint chip, Rocky Road.
Mm-hmm. My favorite is going to be Raisin Bran.
My favorite, I think is more because it's nostalgic, is Quaker O's.
Favorite way to eat bacon is you kill the pig, you make it bacon, and then you eat the bacon.
It's an all-encompassing experience. That's why we have pigs.
And it's amazing. So my favorite thing to cook would be barbecue and carne asada.
For me, similar to Matt, I got a big 16-foot smoker that I take to events. I love any type of meat you put on that thing. It's gold coming out.
Oh, that's easy. My favorite Disney movie of all time, Oliver and Company.
I think my favorite Disney movie, I have a lot, but if I had to pick one, Jungle Book.
My favorite season would probably be summer.
Such a baseball player.
Yep.
I enjoy winter. I'm a cold air kind of guy.
Favorite food, I would probably go with like tacos.
My favorite, I don't know, maybe one of my favorites, I'm going to pick it, liver and onions. It's really hard to find, but if you find a place that makes good liver and onions, or you can make it good yourself, my go-to. I have two that are very similar. Both I make myself. I make a really good creme brulee. There's a secret ingredient I'm not going to tell you. And I make a very good salted caramel budino. There's rum in it. It's fantastic.
I think for me it would probably either be carrot cake or a red velvet cheesecake.
You like cream cheese frosting?
I do.
Got it.
If I could be born into any era of time, I would want to go back to the Western days. That to me would be my favorite, where I'd want to be.
If I had to pick a time, one of my favorite times of music was the 40s. I liked the culture there. Didn't like the whole war thing, but I would probably pick the 40s minus the World War.
My first one would probably be an AR.
Next, you're going to want to get yourself a good 12-gauge shotgun.
If you want to go with reliability, I would probably go with get yourself a good Glock.
You're also going to need a high-caliber hunting rifle, so probably a .308.
And I think, honestly, even a .357 Magnum would be nice.
Yeah?
It wouldn't be bad.